Welcome back to another episode of the 7th D Puckcast. I'm Keith.
I'm Chris.
Please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube. Today we're going to go a little bit over trading in the NHL.
Yeah, some rumors are picking up now as we get it down into the stretch of the trade deadline. Maybe take a look at, who needs what players are available right now, and
yeah, go from there. I guess we'll start locally.
We'll start. Well, I guess we can start with my team, the Rangers.
Yeah.
Right now, it's been pretty well known, even since the start of the year, the Rangers are looking for a top four defenseman. A lot of the talk has been about Kevin Shattenkirk.
It's just what will they have to give up to get a guy like
exactly.
Shattenkirk?
He wants to come to the Rangers, it sounds like, or he wants to come east at least. They said that, he's willing to even take a little bit of a hometown discount when the season ends and his contract's up. But it's a matter of, again, what do they have to give up to get him? Because right now, the top players on the Rangers are all playing exactly like how you would want them to do. So you don't almost want to trade away a key piece of that. A lot of them have been hurt.
Yeah.
But, JT Miller's cooled off now, but I don't know if I really would like to see JT Miller involved in a trade going that way. Rick Nash, for a while, was being talked about, as possibly being involved in a trade for Kevin Shattenkirk.
But I think Nash is that kind of player that I think a team like St. Louis would like to get. Finish out that offense with an even better top scorer.
They would, but Nash is so valuable to the Rangers in the fact that he penalty kills now, and he's scoring again this year. He's doing it all. He's now going to be coming back from injury, hopefully.
You have to remember, you're trading for Kevin Shattenkirk.
Yes,
one of the league's
that is
top
also
defensemen.
true.
You're going to have to give something up in that.
Yeah, and they don't really have any draft picks to do it with.
Yeah.
So, you could almost, honestly, it'd be interesting to see, because right now the goaltending situation has been so shaky. Could they include Ranta in that?
They possibly could.
To try to solidify, the Blues goaltending.
But the Blues like Allen.
Yeah, they like Allen, and I don't blame them, but it would give them a better 1A, 1B option than Carter Hutton.
Ranta on a couple teams might even steal a starting job from someone.
Yeah. Honestly, the way he's played
so
far this year, if it wasn't for the fact that it's Henrik Lundqvist, he probably would have taken over at least a large bulk of the starts.
Yeah. One player I think your Rangers should try to get rid of, Dan Girardi. Get a fourth round, if you're lucky, a third round pick for him. I think you guys would be happy with that.
I will take a bag of pucks for
Connor
Dan
Murphy.
Girardi. No, I will take a bag of pucks for
trying here.
No, I think he'll end up being bought out, possibly.
Yeah. He'll definitely sign. He'll probably even sign a multi-year, over $4 million deal with another team.
I don't know about 4, but 3.5 to 4 at the max. Yeah, that would be more of what he's worth. What they're paying him now is just not worth the play that you're getting. It is nice to see that Mark Stahl has rebounded, though, so they don't have two anchors around their neck.
Their top defenseman now is no longer Klein.
Yeah, who's, like we talked about before, is actually playing terrible this year. Thank God for Nick Holden.
Yeah. Steal right there. We got the Devils also. They're one of our local teams. They got a few things. Hall, great piece.
Great piece, and they got a steal for him. So
the only thing I have to say with them, I think Schneider is too old for that team. He's 30. He's young. He still has a couple years.
Oh, yeah, he's still got a couple years of that elite goaltender in him.
But that team won't be good in time for Schneider to be that elite goaltender.
And he's also been hurting the team's growth because he wins games for them.
Yeah.
All the time. And because he wins them so many games, they don't get that, top 3 draft pick, ever. Which, at this point, there are teams looking for goaltending.
I think he'd fit great in Calgary.
I think so, too.
They could get draft picks from them. They could possibly snag Dougie Hamilton off them.
Dougie Hamilton or even some of their prospects.
Yeah.
So they have, a good depth to their system.
Calgary's sitting there with great offense.
Yeah.
The defense can... It's not a great defense. Losing Dougie would hurt them. Mm-hmm. But you're having Corey Schneider.
Yeah, and in return, you could trade to them either Chad Johnson or Brian Elliott and let the Devils ride out, one of those guys. They're solid enough to be in the NHL.
Keep them above the cap while they're getting some younger guys onto that team.
They're going to make it, interesting enough that they'll win a couple games, but not nearly as much. They'll fall lower to the bottom of the standings because they have no depth on defense. They have no depth on offense besides Taylor Hall and Zajac when he decides to show up.
And the other defenseman they should really keep is probably Severson.
Yeah, I think he's got a decently enough bright future ahead of him, but...
Yeah, their offense, they're decent, but they don't have the depth. They don't have the prospects.
Yeah, they're in any prospects they have, they're not more than like going to be third or fourth liners. However, I do like Miles Wood.
Yeah, he's shown that he can play.
Yeah, he's really fast. But then again, he's also getting the chance to because there's no one else in his way.
Yeah.
So it's right now, it's like, hey, if you know how to skate and handle a puck, yeah, you can play in the top line. They have P.A. Parento playing up in the top 6.
Just because he can handle the puck.
Yeah.
What other rumors have you been hearing around?
I guess some of the other rumors, it'd be interesting to see what Chicago's going to do, because every year they always add that piece right at the trade deadline, but they're always right up against the cap. I think there are some options out there for them. Possibly a Shane Doan, if they want that veteran leadership.
Yeah, there's a few places I think Doan could end up.
Yeah, Iginla, but the problem with Iginla is his contract is too high. I think it would be hard to fit him in under it.
I could see them talking with the Coyotes, not about Doan, but about Radim Vrbata.
That would be another option.
He's got a $1 million contract.
Yeah, that's cheap. That's affordable.
For a team like Chicago, that is friendly.
Yeah, that is a very friendly contract.
They might have to pay a little bit more for that than they would. Shane Doan, they could throw a 4th-round pick the Coyotes' way.
I think Vrbata could fetch them a 2nd-round pick, probably. Maybe even some slightly lesser prospect involved in that.
And they have history of trading, but I mean, I think Iginla would not be a good fit there.
No, I don't think so. I don't think Iginla's really going to be a good fit anywhere.
Unless he's going to be that 4th-line player.
Yeah, but who's really going to give up anything at the trade deadline to add an expensive 4th-line player?
And what Colorado's asking for, like a Landeskog, what are they going to ask for Iginla?
Yeah, the price tag, that's another
one.
Want
a 1st-round pick for
that's
him.
really hot right now.
It's just like, no. Here's a 4th. Oh, we need all your 4th rounds.
Yeah. Well, then I guess we can jump right into that one, because that's been kind of the hot topic right now is what's Colorado been doing. And, there's been talk about McKinnon, there's been talk about Landeskog, there's been talk about Duchesne, all kind of being available for the right price.
All that offensive group.
But, I mean, for Landeskog, they're asking for a top 4 defenseman who's ready now, a 1st-round pick, and plus more. Another prospect or some kind of piece, which is a lot to ask for a guy who does not have a lot of points going on this year.
His track record
since his rookie year has kind of gone downhill. I mean, he's kind of got some grit to him. That could be partly the team. He's got some grit to him. I think the offense will probably return wherever he does end up getting traded to. I think he'll end up playing better because he'll have better people. He'll actually have maybe some better people around him. But he still does play with either McKinnon or Duchesne.
Yeah, I think if they were to keep someone, I think they have to keep Landeskog. I think he brings the most to the ice, the most potential. I say trade Duchesne.
I say trade Duchesne because I think he's the one that you could actually probably get that first round pick.
I think a lot of other teams would be more willing to give you that 1st-round pick and that top defenseman for him than a Landeskog.
I would absolutely agree. If I was the Rangers would never probably go for him because I don't think they have the room to go for him or anything like that. It would, but if I was to look at him and be like, we're gonna get him for a 1st-round pick and a defenseman, which we don't have a 1st-round pick, but I'd be like, okay, yeah, I'm happy with that. That's fair enough. Let's do it. Like, that's a fair deal for both teams.
Yeah,
but it's gonna be interesting to see who's willing to take him on. I know they asked for when they were talking to Boston, they asked for Carlo, and they were just like, Boston's like, no. You're not getting Carlo.
They're going to hold on to Carlo.
Yeah.
I mean, Chara's got nothing left. And it's pretty much Carlo's going to be their top defenseman.
Yeah, he's going to be the next Chara, essentially. He's going to play probably most of his career there.
I mean, he's not even putting up that many points, but he's still getting like 24 minutes a game.
Yeah, it's because for a young player, he's very aware of where he needs to be, what he needs to do. I think the points will start to come. I don't know if he'll ever be a top point kind of guy.
But he'll definitely be that shutdown defenseman.
Shut down with an added little extra offense to his game. That's he
could be on the power play.
And he's going to be reliable.
Yeah.
So I mean that's what you want out of a guy. I guess also too we could talk about Montreal.
Yeah, who are they going to want?
That's another hot spot I think Shane Doan could end up in if he agrees to get traded to.
Yeah, I mean I don't know what Canadians would want to give up.
Yeah, I don't know what they really have to give up.
Probably picks. I think that's all someone like Doan's going to go for is picks.
He's probably going to fetch you maybe a 3rd-round pick.
Unless it's like a 24-year-old, former late first, second round pick who just hasn't quite done it.
Yeah, it was maybe had a cup of tea with the big club and kind of has gone down. Maybe played 15
played
games
30 games, only
15,
has
30 games.
7 points.
Yeah, like a player like that. But I mean, then again, you are getting rid of Shane Doan, who's old and doesn't do anything for, something.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that'd be probably one of the better pieces that. I think that might be his best fit, though, the Canadians.
Yeah, I think that would work there, too.
Even again, I think, even though I don't like him if he was a Blackhawk, I think he'd be good there. Because I think they have a little bit more cap room, so they can afford Iginla.
That is true.
I mean, other teams going, I've got the Predators. I think they have to move Pekka Rinne. The way Saros has been playing for them.
They need to move Pekka Rinne. I don't think they should hand over the full-time starting role yet to Saros, but they need to have a 1A, 1B.
Yeah, they have... names can't get off the top of my head. The other goalie that was backing up before Saros.
Mazanec?
Yeah. Yeah, Mazanec.
Yeah.
1-2 right there.
Yeah, okay, Mazanec hasn't really been...
No, but...
He hasn't proven really much.
If you have Saros play 2, Mazanec. Saros 2.
Yeah, that's not a horrible...
Find that team looking for that top goalie. You can... With how everyone just wants to blow Pekka Rinne, they can probably still get a lot.
They could probably get much more than he is actually worth, which isn't a whole lot. There are some options, I think, there even too. I know Dallas, they need
a goalie.
They need a goalie, but the problem there is both their goalies are making over $5 million. No one's really going to be willing.
They have to find a team willing.
That's going to be the hardest part, though, is finding a team willing to take on Niemi or Lehtinen. Neither one of them is any good and be willing to pay them $5 million. I think they're going to get stuck retaining some of that contract.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that doesn't really help their cap space problem.
I mean, they have to find a team that's, I guess, struggling, goalie on the cheap.
Yeah.
But there's not many of them.
Yeah, that's the problem is, everyone's talked about Ben Bishop, Marc-Andre Fleury getting traded.
Too much.
They're worth too much. You're not going to get a goalie like that.
Unless they're going to be unless one of those is going to be willing to take on Lehtinen.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if one of those teams is going to trade one of those guys, they're not going to take back a Niemi or a Lehtinen because they're like, okay, we unloaded him, but we're still at the same cap space.
Yeah.
Because we took Niemi
or we took a better goalie to save
we're
$30.
Yeah, we're still here in the exact position we were before. I mean, I think it would be easier if there was a team that had, all right, if his contract was up at the end of the year, one of their contracts was up, it'd be easier to be like, okay, we're gonna lose him, blah blah blah.
I hate to bring them up over and over. Mike Smith again, another Coyote.
Yeah,
they'll take on the contract of one of them and be like, okay, we'll just ride him out. We'll get another one of get a second round pick in Mike Smith for Niemi or Lehtinen. It's like, they're not gonna do anything here anyway, but we're gonna bring in another pick.
Yeah. I mean, that's a team that I think you're going to see that. Is you're going to see a team that's willing to do that. Vancouver might take on
I can see.
But the thing is with Vancouver is they don't need any goaltending. I mean, unless they're going to trade Ryan Miller or Markstrom down to Dallas to be a starter.
They'd be another team. They have the cap space.
To me, Ryan Miller doesn't hold that much value anymore.
Yeah, maybe. Carolina, Cam Ward, maybe.
Yeah, Ward's actually had a pretty good year this year.
Yeah, he's definitely turned it around.
But the problem is Eddie Lack keeps getting hurt, so then they wouldn't have a goalie. Eddie Lack came back in his first game back from a concussion, got another concussion. So when that happens, you're looking at a chance that he's not going to be, back for a little while.
Yeah.
And currently Carolina is sitting only one position out of a playoff spot. So I don't think they're going to trade Cam Ward then.
Definitely not yet. Their offense has just been...
It's been good.
Yeah.
Skinner has been off to a tear.
On a tear.
Terrific. Tear, terrific. He's been great. It's also going to be interesting to see if Tampa Bay tries to do anything, because I feel like they're not going to be happy with being out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And even though they're in a position where you would think they're going to be sellers, I can see them really trying to push and be buyers and try to like make the playoffs.
They're at a point where they've made the playoffs over and over. They don't want to miss it.
With the same team that they basically have now.
It's just a different person steps up.
Yeah, and really, I mean, Bishop's been hurt. Vasilevsky hasn't stepped in and been able to play that well, and Bishop hasn't played that well.
Bishop came back tonight for him.
Yeah, but his numbers on the year aren't that great. Vasilevsky's aren't that great.
Vasilevsky's aren't too bad, though.
I didn't think they were that all. I mean, since Bishop has been hurt, Vasilevsky was giving up like 4 goals a game.
Yeah. Well, Vasilevsky, I don't think it's the stamina to play game after game after game.
Yeah.
He's definitely a good goalie, he needs a lot of breaks.
Yeah. I
mean, they got a lot of forwards they can try to move. People who shine really well there, but maybe they don't think they'll do it anywhere else, but they can get a lot of money, a lot of value out of them.
I mean, there's a couple teams especially in the Metropolitan, I don't see making many more moves. I don't see Columbus really wanting to break up anything that they have right now.
It's probably going to be a slow trade deadline this
year. Yeah, you're
going
to see a couple teams, and that's mostly it.
But I mean,
Washington, I don't see them making.
There'll probably be like 1 or 2 big trades going on.
There'll be like 1 or 2 that like everyone's going to be following. What happens with Shattenkirk?
What happens with
Bishop,
Colorado,
or Fleury? And the guys from Colorado. But other than that,
and then me following how many trades the Coyotes make, which will probably be none.
Yeah,
and they're done.
Well, the Coyotes also still have another person we haven't even talked about, in Martin Hansel.
Yeah,
as if he's going to get traded. I mean, there's a lot of teams I think that would be interested in him. It's just you got to figure out what his value is, and I think we need that first domino to fall to see where kind of everything stacks up for what his value would be.
Because I don't think Chalky has been receiving many phone calls on him.
No.
I think they're expecting a few more than they got.
Yeah.
He's confused because he's been injured so much. But when he plays, he does well. It's just, how do you value a player like him?
Yeah. Especially right now in the market, because you've seen the price tag that Colorado's asking for their guys.
Yeah.
And if you're, the Coyotes, it's kind of like, well, he's got like the same points as them, but I don't think anyone's going to offer us a first-round pick and a top 4 D-man. I mean, if they do,
we'll take you out to dinner.
Yeah.
Here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
I mean, another name they're shopping around, I think, is Duclair, which, watching him play, he's everywhere.
That is a mistake.
Yeah. He's going to be a big player, but I think he will probably be one of those pieces traded just because he's struggling.
He's in a sophomore slump. I guarantee you if they trade him next year, he's going to blow up, and they're going to be like, well, shit. We should not have done that.
Yeah.
But, if they do trade him, they better get really high-end value for him.
Yeah. I guess go back to the Canucks a little bit, not so much Ryan Miller. They might want to see if they can just give someone the Sedins.
Yeah.
Get a 3rd round pick for each one.
A 2nd and a 3rd or something like that.
Yeah, for both of them.
And also be curious to see can you trade them together or do you have to split them up? Because, I mean, that's a decent chunk of change that a team's going to have to free up.
I don't think anyone could afford the $12 million combined or whatever they're making.
Yeah, that's going to be really hard to find for a team that's in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, there might be some teams that could afford it that aren't in the playoffs, but
why?
Yeah,
like a team point, on the outside, like the Carolina.
Yeah.
But they don't need them.
No, because they're young and they're growing. They're on that rebuild.
You kind of have to separate them.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to be able to deal them both if you want to get anything for them.
Yeah. Any other ones you've been hearing going around?
I mean, there's been a little bit of goalies getting dropped and stuff like that. Kudabin just got put on waivers because he's been terrible for the last 2 years, which is kind of weird because I thought when he first started, I thought Kudabin would eventually turn into the starter on some team. I didn't know where, but when he was even with the Hurricanes, and who did he come from before that? Was he with the Hurricanes when he kind of started?
Yeah, I think that's where he kind of...
Yeah. I expected him, when he first started, he looked like he was going to be a goalie of the future that was not going to be elite, but he could at the same time take over the starting role for a team and just hold it down, be really solid and the team would be thrilled to have him.
Yeah. Any last minute things? I don't really know if I have much more.
Yeah, I think right now that's about it. As things start to, pick up as we come down to the trade deadline,
yeah.
I'm sure more is going to pop up. But for right now, I think that just about sums it all up.
All right, well, again, thank you all for listening.
Yeah, thanks again. And next week we'll be having another episode, maybe talking about some of the all-star selections.
Yes.
The rosters just came out this week, and there's definitely some surprises as to players who are on there and surprises as to people who are not on there.
And I guess we'll leave that for next week. Thank you for listening.